Paris. Definitely one of the most beautiful cities in the world, the most beautiful one I've ever come across. As long as I've been here, I turn down alleyways, I turn down corners, and I'm constantly coming across something new and beautiful, some new creation by human beings, mostly architecture. And when it comes to architecture and city layout, there's nothing I've ever seen like it. I'm here at my friend Pam's place, she is Parisienne, and she's now down south, in the south of France, making a new record. She's a musician. This is her record player and her books and her place, and really lucky to be able to stay here in Pigalle. It's a neighborhood, a new up-and-coming artist neighborhood near Montmartre, which was the old artist neighborhood, and I guess still is. But there's a bit of a rejuvenation, I feel, in Paris.
There you go. Where are we?
We're at La Fête de la Musique, Paris, République.
We're in Paris now.
Yeah, we're...
Welcome to Paris. Okay. Fête de la musique. Fêtes and fireworks. All over Paris, music of all sorts and kinds. So we went from pop music, DJ music, to this.
For 800 years, Paris has been an epicenter for art and thought, beginning in the Middle Ages when it rose to become the largest city in Europe. It's no surprise that architecture was its first area of artistic influence with the invention of the Gothic style, which permeates culture to this day. The masterpiece Notre Dame is the most famous Gothic structure and took nearly 2 centuries to build. Beyond architecture, Paris began the ascent out of dark times for Europe with the Renaissance, which literally means rebirth in French. Though it shouldn't go without saying that there was plenty of blood and mayhem to go along with it.
It's crazy in Paris right now.
Yeah, so let's get crazy. Paris. Ketchup for me.
Ketchup?
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm sorry.
this music you're hearing, I didn't put this over the top of this. This is legit.
This word you see, la ganche, could loosely be translated to dirty dancing. Though this wouldn't be called that by our 21st century standards, back in the late 19th century such styles were part of the counterculture. Around this time, modern cabarets started popping up in Paris, most notably the Chat Noir and the Moulin Rouge in the Montmartre neighborhood. It was in these clubs that the more indulgent behaviors were encouraged, and nightlife as we know it was born.
Mon français c'est très très mal. Désolé, mademoiselle.
C'est pas grave.
Yeah, ah ouais. Music there. Music behind us. Music
everywhere.
all around us.
Aika and I covered about 4 miles on foot this day, from Place République, Rue La Monnaie, across Ile de la Cité, past Saint-Michel, and finally Saint-Germain-des-Prés. We heard a ton of music, and this was only a small part of it.
A must in Paris is the ascent in Montmartre up to the Sacré-Cœur. It is a hike up the hill, but it is a must. Pas de Cartier. No fancy jewelry for the poor.
Around the turn of the 20th century, artists were flocking to the free bohemian lifestyle that was Montmartre. Renoir, Picasso, Degas, Modigliani, and Matisse were just some of the big names to be a part of the scene there before the outbreak of World War I. Though he came later, Salvador Dali came to add to the rich artistic history as well, and it was at one point named the Emperor of Montmartre. Today, it has become a major tourist destination, which is due in part to this, but also to the presence of the Sacré-Cœur, which is a beautiful basilica at the top of the hill.
Happy Sacré-Cœur.
Here on the roof in Paris, the lucky man who gets my own roof access, though it's a bit dangerous up here. It is quite beautiful though. See the Eiffel Tower. See the Eiffel Tower over there. You can see maybe behind me Sacré-Cœur. Right here. That is Sacré-Cœur. So I remember coming to Paris for the first time. And it was after a trip to Europe that I missed home. I was young and I missed home, and I didn't know a lot. I was going through maybe a hard time in life. And I came to Paris and it inspired me. I thought I wanted to go home. I made a last minute decision to go to Paris, and it really surprised me with how beautiful it was. We've always heard about how beautiful it is, but it really is remarkable that way. This is the Palais Royal, arguably the spot where European aristocrats began their fall from power. Ironically, it was a member of the French royal family that encouraged the revolutionary fervor that exploded in these very halls, courtyards, and gardens. In spite of his political leanings, the man known as Philippe Égalité would eventually meet the same fate as so many Parisians of the day. He was guillotined only a few blocks away at the Place de la Révolution, officially given its modern name, Place de la Concorde, once the murderous reign of terror came to an end.
Okay, here in the Tuileries Garden, you can see behind me maybe the Eiffel Tower over here somewhere, and the obelisk at Concorde there. Behind that shoots up the Champs-Élysées. So we're obviously in a very central place here in Paris. The Seine is right there, literally right there. And then in front of us there's the Louvre. You keep walking and you hit the Pont Neuf and the Notre Dame, of course. But this is Tuileries, and I like coming to Tuileries Garden because it's a great place to play music. And for some reason, every time I've played here, playing music, people come up to me and start talking with me. So let's see what kind of action we can create here in the Tuileries Garden.
This is Shakespeare and Company, an English language bookshop with a proud history. This bookstore, founded by an American in 1951, is a tribute to the original that was the center of the American in Paris movement that happened between the two world wars. A hotspot and crash pad for the likes of Ernest Hemingway, James Joyce, and F. Scott Fitzgerald, it was a part of the enormous artistic presence that was Montparnasse, which boasts a ridiculous list of prolific names living in the neighborhood at the time. Today, the bookstore still maintains the crash pad tradition of supporting unpublished talent. I suppose you can't talk about Paris without talking about food. Honestly, this deserves a video all its own, and I'm sure there are a ton of them out there. There's just a lot to talk about in every culinary category, but allow me to highlight my personal favorite, pastries.
So I'm here at a boulangerie. You come to Paris, you have to go to the boulangerie. Something about the French bread, the Parisian bread. When you have bread here, you don't want to have bread anywhere else. And this is Julian. Julian, can you tell me why the French bread is so good?
I don't know. It's just part of our life and our meal, and
Okay.
part of everything. I mean, I don't know.
You do it here, right?
Yeah, everything is made here. The bread and the brioche, and so
Okay.
it's made downstairs.
Bonjour.
This is my father, my brother. It's a family bakery.
Oh, this is a family bakery.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Even better. Okay, one bite left of my croissant allemande. So delicious. And as you can see from Julian back there at the boulangerie, this whole idea that Parisian people here in Paris, they get a bad time and that people are rude, it's just not true.
There may not be anything more Parisian than people watching. And the classic spot to do this is the cafes and brasseries that sit on nearly every intersection in the city. This one is a personal favorite called Le Progrès in the La Marais neighborhood. I often meet up with my friend and colleague Reinhard Wagner here for a chat over coffee and or wine, which is another major Parisian category, and I promise to get back to that. But for now...
So the Paris trip is coming to an end. This one, but I'll be back.